All right, so last night we were going to go out and see the newest horror film, Him, but we saw a bunch of negative reviews and we had plans to do other things, and we actually got a screener for a very exciting film, and it was just like, this is going to take our whole night if we go out.
Yeah.
So let's just wait till tomorrow, since everyone seems to be disliking it anyway.
So we saw it today.
So we went out and we saw it this morning. And yeah, so as I would assume most of you know what this film is, because this had a big marketing push. I saw this trailer kind of everywhere. Mm-hmm. But for those of you who do not, we have a up-and-coming quarterback who is trying to get drafted into the league. And something happens, and he kind of misses his shot, and he's given a second chance by a very famous athlete, the GOAT, played by Marlon Wayans, and he goes out to train with him so that he can hopefully regain his spot to become the next GOAT.
Yep.
And sacrifices must be made for greatness.
No guts, no glory, right?
Yeah. So, okay. I do want to definitely address this. I think that movies like this are not for everybody. There's no doubt about that. I think that most people like pretty straightforward types of films. So the whole film is allegorical, right? And while I will agree, and I have not listened to a single review on this, I just saw people saying, I didn't like it. I didn't, and I just stopped there. I didn't look into why they didn't like it. So I don't know what people are saying. But the thing I will say is that while the metaphors and the allegory that is being told and done here is pretty on the nose, right? There's not a lot to dig deep into. This isn't like a super ambiguous film where you have to dig into some deeper meaning and be like, oh well, what the director's really trying to say here. No, it's pretty surface level when it comes to its metaphors. Like, it's just very open with what it's trying to say. And the movie is, well, I don't want to steal that from you, actually. I know that's the thing you want to talk about. So I did enjoy the film. I didn't love it, and I didn't hate it. I liked it a good amount. I'm in that area with it. I want to sit and think about it a little bit more. The one area where I would have definitely liked there to be more is in that area I kind of talked about, but also in the horror side of things. I think that it doesn't fully commit to it, especially in the end, where it does kind of go bonkers, but it doesn't go graphic bonkers like I think it should have. So it just doesn't show me enough of the good stuff, right? Of like what I would want in that end scene. So that bummed me out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's a very obvious film with what it's saying, and if you don't agree with that message, then you're gonna fucking hate this movie, right?
Yeah, I kind of loved it. I think I'm higher on it than you are.
Yeah, you are.
I am not a sports person, first of all. That's like one big thing about me.
I think
which is maybe why it works for me, I guess.
I think this is like geared towards you because this is kind of how you feel about this stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, obviously this film is pretty crazy, so I'm not going to say that that's like my 100%, like I think it's reality or anything. I just think that, like, as we were saying, there's so much metaphor in the movie about sports and football especially, and kind of how society views it and how the people that play it view it and the fans and all of that really resonates with me in a way that, like, that's how I perceive it, I guess.
Yeah. The deification.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool to explore. It's not anything that I don't think has been talked about before necessarily, but this film is just so stylish. To me at least, I thought that the like set designs were really cool.
Yeah.
The costuming, I loved everyone's performance. I think everyone did a really great job. There's some nice like surreal trippy stuff going on that I vibed with really heavily. And yeah, I thought the ending was great. So I don't know. I think that I thought it was a really cool film, honestly. And I am curious, like, just in general, what people are thinking on both sides, like, if you love it or if you hate it, because when you had mentioned that, like, people were really disliking it, I'm just really curious as to what the criticism is. And no hate, if you don't like the film, like, that's totally fine. I really don't care if you like it or don't. But I am curious, like, I think we kind of talked about it in the drive home, and just that and as you said at the beginning here, where I think a lot of people maybe prefer a little bit more straightforward, not like as heavy metaphor as the film goes for, because it is all very, everything is symbolic for something else, you know, and
or the opposite, they want it to be extremely vague.
Sure.
Right.
Or it's, yeah, because it's too
like
on the nose, because it's so, like, clearly, like, this is what they're trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It worked for me. I thought it was rad.
Which I don't have a problem with. I don't think that films have to be so artistically vague with their message. Like, sometimes the artist just wants it to be obvious what they're trying to say, because they feel so strongly about this subject. And, you know, yes, is there different ways to explore this topic? Yes, of course, it's been done. You know, the dangers and pitfalls of sports and the price that you pay for it as a person has been explored in plenty of films, right? This is not the first. It's one of the first I've seen in the horror realm. Typically, I see this done towards actors. Right, this is the typical story you see in horror that's done towards actors, right? Whether it's starry eyes or something like that.
That's what that's a good.
And that's typically because filmmakers are making these films and they're writing what they know, and typically sports people and filmmakers are not usually the same crowd.
Yeah, well, and that's a great point, though. So Starry Eyes and even The Substance recently, or like Neon Demon, like this is kind of the male version of that lens of criticism, you know, where those movies are kind of taking a hyper look at how society treats women and beauty standards and getting into, you know, whether it's modeling or acting or whatever. Whereas this is kind of the male counterpart traditionally, I suppose you could say, where a lot of boys grow up and like they want to be football players, or like they get into you know, some kind of some kind of sports thing. Not to say that doesn't happen with girls too, of course, but there is this standard or like expectation kind of where it's like manly men love sports and play sports. And I'm not trying to say that in a condescending way or anything, but that is an interesting point, though, that this is that like what Starry Eyes is, but this for football, which is interesting. Yeah,
the film that this kind of reminded me of somewhat, especially with set design and kind of the cultish nature of the rabid fan base outside the gates and within, the people that are also trying to help him on his journey. It reminded me a lot of the movie Opus, which we watched last year.
Totally.
Or actually, that was this year.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed, and almost everybody either ignored or hated.
Yeah.
So there's something about this style that seems to be off-putting to people. But no, I mean, I definitely like the messaging. Maybe because of the marketing, they were expecting the film to be different and to be maybe more demonic or more graphic or something. But honestly, I think that the trailer is pretty representative of the film.
I would agree. I think like I had said, I feel like the film lived up to my expectations from what I saw on from the trailer.
Yeah. You know, as someone who grew up in a household, and I would be very curious. So, like, obviously not a lot of athletes have film review channels. Previous, like, athletes that really, like, were heavy into sports in growing up and went to college to play ball or whatever. I would be very curious. I have a buddy named Dylan who I would be super curious on his thoughts because he's like a big sports guy and a big film guy.
Yeah, that would be an interesting take for sure.
You know, having grown up in a house that I was kind of forced to play hockey in the stead of my stepfather who, you know, couldn't play because of injury and I needed to be his vessel. There's a lot of points in this film that feel very reminiscent of that because you want to live up to the expectation of your father's expectations and how this pushes someone. Now, I could see people not understanding why someone... Because there's like a... Yes, Kaylee said surreal, and I agree. It is like surreal light.
If anything...
It's not a super surreal film, but it definitely feels a bit like a dream in places.
Yes, it has a dreamlike quality, and it's also maybe better said would be like reality adjacent.
It is.
Because the reactions people have are very...
Our main character...
not realistic.
Our main character in reality would walk away from this very early on. And I think that could be an issue some people are having, is the believability. But because the film always presented itself in an unrealistic way, I always just ran with that. I'm always able to, as long as the film sets its boundaries and you know, its rules very early on, where it's like, okay, we're not dealing with reality here. This is reality adjacent. This is like supposed to be an allegory. This is supposed to be this figure who comes, you know, to do something great, and the price that he'll pay to do that thing. And you know, this isn't like, it's like you listen to a Bible story or you listen to any of these kinds of things, and you're like, who the fuck would do that? Who would build a big boat that holds every fucking animal because a voice in the sky told him to? And it's like, it's just a story. Like, it's just an allegory.
There's a lot of religious undertones to this as well,
100%.
like so much.
If you've heard of the band Hymn and what that stands for, I think you can figure out the title of this film as well.
I just thought I thought it was fascinating. I thought it blended those things really well. Very on the nose, very obvious. Nothing that you're like, oh yeah, like I think that means this thing.
Right.
But again, like that was fine for me. It just, that's the universe that we were in, and I don't know. Yeah, I think all of it works very well.
Yeah, if you're somebody who is like super put off by, you know, toxic masculinity and that kind of stuff, oh boy, this one's gonna be a lot for you to sit through, because this is all about just being the big dick on campus and like, you know, who's the toughest and how fucking... Because the real horror in the film is the abuse on the human body. Right, because that's really what it comes down to in sports, and what we're always trying to protect against is that the human body is a fragile organism, and these kids are meant to push their bodies to the limit, and it's like, this is all you have, right?
Sure.
You can break everything else in your life, but trust me, when you break your body, you're fucked. This is all you got. This is your temple, so to speak, right?
It
and
is.
These kids really do a number on it. When you're young and you're 20 and you can push through it and you get smashed up and you're like, I'm tough, I got it, and this and that, and it's like, yeah, until you're 40.
And then wait until, because the body takes...
Your body will break.
Yeah.
Your body, and you will suffer for the rest of your life
Yeah.
And some people, that's the price they'll pay. They're like, fuck it, I don't care. I just want to be remembered as one of the best.
What is that phrase? It's like the body keeps count, or the body keeps record, or whatever.
Score.
Score. It's true though. Like as you get older, I mean, your body remembers everything that's happened to it, and it's like that stuff. Yeah, that stuff doesn't just go away. I could see. Yeah, well, just really quickly, because we talk not all the time, but I feel like it's something that we've talked about a few times. About how brutal football is, especially like the head injuries that football players can get, and like young players, like not just people in the NFL, high school football players that can get brain damage, and it's really a brutal sport, and there's a lot of brutal sports out there, which it's dangerous, and getting young men and young women like involved in these like hyper competitive and, like I said, brutal, dangerous sports, it's definitely, I don't know. I guess it depends. There's a lot of positives to sports too, so it's not like all of it's negative, but they can have a lot of consequences to playing them, unfortunately. And the last thing I guess I would say is that I think that maybe people would find this film preachy, and that could be a turnoff as well. Personally, I didn't find it to be that, but maybe is a tone that could come across to others.
Yeah. The smartest artistic style choice that this movie made, because of the subject matter it's dealing with, and kind of how we know these injuries are sustained and whatnot, is they chose to show a lot of things through X-ray vision. And there's these scenes where people are beating their bodies, and we see it like the whole scene through like X-ray, and I thought that was a really smart choice, because that's something we as the audience is very familiar with, of like, well, on the outside you never know what's going on in the inside, right? And then when you see these sports documentaries, or if you ever go to the hospital with someone who's injured or whatever, and they pull up your scans and you can see what's going on inside the body. Obviously, we can't see what's going on inside the body unless you open up the body. And when you see those scans and you see the cracks across the skull, or you see the brain has the bleeding on it or whatever, then you're like, oh shit, it becomes a reality.
Yeah.
And to actually like show it in real time the way we would see it in pictures, but this is moving pictures, like a moving X-ray. It adds an artistic flavor and style to the film, but it also connects with the audience on a deeper level, that we know like we're seeing something that we don't usually see, and when we do see that, it's to show off bodily injury, which is what these people sustain and plagues them for the rest of their life.
Well, because, like, again, not a sports person, so it's not like I watch sports, but unless somebody has a bone sticking out, or there's like some...
We see that in this.
We do, but it does seem sometimes like sports fans, like if their favorite athlete gets injured on the field, and there's no visible, like, their leg is twisted, like, in an unnatural angle or something. It's kind of like, you're my avatar on the field, like, you need to get up and play, rather than, like, those are actual people down there that are hurting their bodies and, risking injury to play a game.
Well, like you said, it's the gladiator matches of the old.
Yeah, that's another big theme in this film, which is very apt.
Another really cool aspect of the movie, too, for me, is I know that we do address this here and there with the films, but I think this was such an important thing, and also to use it as, like, a lot of the horror imagery in the movie is, like, the rabid fan base.
Yeah.
And, like, kind of the, those kinds of people you see at the games who dress up for the game, and they put on these, like, crazy costumes,
they paint
or
their
makeup
whole bodies,
or whatever.
And they're, like, obsessed.
Yeah, a lot of those are, like, those people are used as, like, the horror imagery, where they're doing, like, weird contortionist things with their bodies and his, like, fever dream type stuff.
Yes.
And I was like, that's great.
That was really great.
Those people, man, like, while they are kind of what keeps you paid and employed, gainfully employed.
Sure.
There is a level where they genuinely, like, think of you as a
like a
god.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude,
you're not a person to them.
chill the fuck out.
You're an idol.
Yes.
And they worship you.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, we freaking love horror movies. I mean, like, we have tons of horror, like, you know, tattoos and memorabilia and like all kinds of stuff, but there is a difference,
but
I feel.
All these people are fictional.
These are all fictional, and also, I mean, granted, there are people that get that rabid when it comes to actors and actresses, for sure, but there's a different vibe when it comes to sports fans. I mean, like, part of it, too, I think, is because of the high, like, competition in sports where it's, like, my team versus your team, I think that makes people, like, extra aggressive.
Yeah.
And that aggression, when you mix it with obsession, it's kind of a bad combination. You know,
I think, like you said too, there is that like Avatar feel. It's like they are your vessel. It's like I couldn't play ball, and
right?
And like if I was out there, I'd hit the fucking home run. I would score the touchdown. Get up, pussy! Like because it's like I have to go to this 9 to 5 every day.
Right, and if you lose, then
it's
I
like,
have
what
to
fucking good are you?
Yeah, like I don't get that dopamine, that feeling that I'm winning, that I'm doing something as well. But it's like that's I guess always what's been confusing to me. Like I get when people play sports because like you're engaging in it, you're doing whatever, and it's like physical and all of that. But like when people just like for me watching sports, like I like literally have negative interest in it because it makes no sense to me, and it's like I don't get anything out of it. Like when I see them win. You know what I mean? But they get that second hand, like, I'm winning. I'm doing something, as you said, versus,
It's a tough thing to explain, for sure.
I'm definitely not trying to, like...
I agree with you, and I used to be like that.
Yeah. I'm not at all trying to make anyone that is a sports fan feel bad. Like, no. And you don't even have to justify why you like watching sports. It's just that my perspective of it, I do get a bit confused by that aspect of things. But at the same time, I guess I kind of understand it, too, because it's like, you know, we watch movies and read books for the same type of thing. Like, you're putting yourself in another... like a character's shoes and like living vicariously through a film or a video game or whatever. And I guess the same thing kind of applies to sports to an extent. So it's not that weird or anything.
Yeah.
It just doesn't resonate with me, and it never has.
Being an athlete is definitely a very, very complicated and tough thing because people really just only care about winners.
Yeah.
And not everyone's going to win, you know.
Not everyone can be a winner.
Right.
Like, literally.
The NBA has 30 teams, right? Like, every year 29 teams are losing. And 29 cities are fucking furious with their team.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, dude, only one team is going to win. And it's like, you're only as good as your last hit. It's only as good as your last shot.
It's a lot of pressure to put on people.
It's insane. And they start when they're like, they get drafted when they're like 17, 18, 19. They're children. And they're brought up in this world where it's like, you better score that thing. And as long as you're winning, you're my best friend.
Right.
But you miss that one kick, right?
And
then you're a piece of shit. Even though you hit 50 fucking field goals that year that got them into the Super Bowl.
But like
it's like they missed that one. And it's like, well, then you're dog shit to me.
And
I hate you.
Likely a lot of those people are probably also raised in families that are huge sports lovers, and like their parents were the same kind of way to them to an extent, or a coach was or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of pressure. The one thing I will say that I don't agree with sports, like heavily, is how much pro athletes get paid compared to like. I feel the same way about actors and actresses, too. I think that these people get paid way too much for their job compared to, like, nurses or teachers or, like, other people in the community that provide really, like, vital, important, you can't live without these people kind of a thing. Now, sports and entertainment, I think, are important, for sure. I'm not saying that they're not, but it's just, like, it is kind of crazy that, you know, athletes make so much money when they get to that pro status, and it's like, dang, man, like, all that could be going towards so many other people that deserve it and, like, good causes, and it's kind of a shame.
I mean, I could speak on this matter for quite a while, so I'll just say... for another time.
Yeah.
We can talk about this off camera. I agree with you. I think these people get paid way too fucking much money. But on the opposite side of that, like, these guys' bodies give out on
I get
them
that.
in their 30s.
I get that. Yeah, it's like
they're
kind
not
of being
going to work
compensated.
again.
I get that.
Michael Jordan isn't going to go get a fucking job at Costco once he's done with the NBA, right?
Sure.
I still think they get paid way too much.
I think you could get paid a good amount and not get paid what they're getting paid.
But they shouldn't, also, you shouldn't, I don't know.
Anyway,
this conversation could go all sorts of places.
I think that this movie...
Stadiums are expensive.
Yeah,
tickets
the tickets, oh my God.
But, yeah, man.
The sports, stuff, too.
Yeah.
I remember we were looking for, a jersey for you once, and I was, shocked at how much they cost. But
they're stupid.
Anyway, I would love to do, spoiler discussion on this film at some point in the future. I think this would be a really fun one to, talk about and break down.
We probably should have just waited to say half the shit we said in the spoiler discussion.
This was stuff that kind of got brought up after watching the film, too. We kind of talked about these things on our drive out of the theater and stuff. So I don't know. For me, that's always a good sign. If a film sparks conversation in us and makes us talk about different things, relating to the film's subject matter, I think that's a good sign, because I think that's what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you think about things and talk about stuff and form an opinion on whatever. And so I think that's a positive towards the film. So.
All right, that's that, guys.
That's that.
So him, hate us, love us, whatever you want. I know some people are like,
we're leaving
if
the
you
channel.
if you like him, I'm out. All right, bye.
Sorry to see you go. I hope you find what you're looking for.
I'm never going to give
reviewers that match your opinion all the time.
My opinion is always my opinion. I don't give two shits what anyone else thinks about it.
I do not care if people hate it. I don't care if people love it. I think that that's how movies work. Sometimes some you hate and some you love. So sorry, but not sorry.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.